opportunity to speak to you for a couple of minutes. You heard the stats. I had an amazing career, but you know, it started right out here on the floor. And my career always didn't go very well. In high school, I pretty much sat on the bench. Didn't play very much. In fact, I can only remember being in a game one time. You know, 3 seconds after I got on the court, the game ended. I mean, I wasn't very good. And I really didn't like basketball, and I gave it up after high school, and I went to trade school and then to be an auto mechanic. So I figured it was just time to go get a job. And as Coach said, about 3 years later, I was working in a tire store, and a junior college coach came in and introduced himself to me and asked me if I'd go give basketball another try. And I told him to get lost. Because when you're 7'4", what's the one question everybody asks you every single day? Do you play basketball? Right? But he didn't give up. He kept coming back and talking to me more and more. And eventually I decided, okay, I'll go out and see what he has to say. And it turned out that he'd worked with a couple of other big guys who had gone on to play collegiate and professional basketball. And he knew what basketball was for a big guy, because we're not the same as point guard, right? We have specific things that we do on the court. So he started showing me these very simple moves at low post on either side. Little step hook shot, turn bank shot, one-step crab dribble, power move, little things like that I could do fairly easily. And so it was intriguing enough for me to say, all right, I'll try it again for a year. So I went back to junior college for a year. I kept my job as a mechanic in the morning, and I went to practice in the afternoon, and I went to night school. And that year, you know, he worked with me every day. And the interesting thing about it was, he was not a coach who just said, you know, hey, show up at the gym at 2:30, we'll work out a little bit. He was at my door at 6 a.m. He said, come on, let's go run. And we'd go on the track and we'd run for an hour. And then after I got off work, we'd go in the gym. We spent a half an hour on footwork, a half an hour on agility drills, you know, a half an hour in the weight room, and a half an hour just learning how to catch and shoot the basketball. I hadn't done anything athletic for 3 years. You know, ate junk food, partied. No, I was nowhere near being an athlete. But there was something about that commitment that he made to me that kept me saying, okay, I'll come back and work again. I'll come work again with you tomorrow and the next day. And the first few weeks, man, it was pretty rough. And there were a lot of people, even other coaches on the team, were like, giving my coach some hard time saying, you know, we don't know about Mark. I don't think he's going to make it or not. But by the end of that first year in junior college, I had enough success where I said, okay, you know, I'm going to get serious about this game of basketball now. So I quit my job as a mechanic, got a job selling cars, and I worked on basketball full time. The second year, we won the state championship in California, all the junior colleges. And now I have my choice to go to any college that I wanted to. And I was recruited by SC, University of Washington, Pepperdine, Duke, Iowa, some big schools. And I decided to go to UCLA because it was a big name in college basketball. And that ended up being a pretty poor choice because I sat on the bench for 2 years there. And the only thing that kept me going is when I would call my coach. I'd say, his name was Tom. And I'd say, you know, the coach sucks, the team isn't doing well, you know, we weren't winning very many games. And he's like, and I, you know, I'm like, I made a big mistake. This is just, you know, life is miserable. And he said, Mark, you know, it's not the team, it's not the coach, it's you. You need to get better. And he told me, if you're not going to play in the games, you're going to have to make the practices your games. You're going to have to be the first guy to practice and the last guy to leave. You have to go do your running, do your hook shots, hit the weight room. Because if you continue to work out, I promise you'll have an opportunity to try out for an NBA team. Now, you know, I didn't really believe him all the time because I couldn't see it happen. All I knew was I was playing hard in practice, and every time there was a game, my butt was parked right there, you know, the bench. But I kept working, and I just kept working. And I had, you know, our second unit at UCLA, we had fun every day. It was like, okay, we we know none of us are going to play, but let's see what we can do to really mess with the first team. And we kicked their butt in practice. We kicked their butt regularly in practice. And that's what kind of kept me going. And, you know, at the end of my senior year, really none of the coaches from UCLA did anything to help me. How I got the NBA is I went back to my coach, Coach Tom, and we started calling NBA teams on the telephone. And can you imagine that? Getting on the phone saying, click, San Antonio Spurs. Would you give Mark Eaton a tryout? They didn't know me from Adam. But the Utah Jazz, the coach picked up the phone, a guy named Frank Hayden, and listened to what we had to say. He said, well, I never heard of that guy, but send me a tape. And we did. He saw just enough, you know, some very brief snippets from UCLA. He came out and watched me play in a summer league in Southern California at a you know, pro-am summer league. And he offered me a job for 1 year. And he said, if you come to our training camp a month early, get on our workout program with our coaches, get on our running program, he said, I'll give you a chance to play for 1 year. I said, Coach, that's all I'm looking for is a chance. So I showed up an entire month before any of the other players were there. And I thought I was in pretty good shape when I showed up there. I wasn't even 10% of where I needed to be. It kicked my butt. They made me run around this big park over and over and over again. I was doing tapping drills. I was, you know, 6 layups in 30 seconds, full court, stuff like that. Defensive sliding drills, ball handling drills, anything they could do to improve my conditioning and improve my ball handling. My coach Frank took an interesting tact with me as a big guy. He said, Mark, I want you to be able to handle the ball. He says, it's not because I want you to bring the ball up the court, but he said it's going to give you more confidence with the basketball. And then if you do get in a tight spot, you get a rebound, you come down, there's a lot of traffic, if you need to take 2 or 3 dribbles to get out of there and throw the outlet pass, I want you to be able to do that. And that helped me a lot. That helped give me a lot more self-confidence. So I did, you know, what my coach asked me to do. Every day I got there early, I was the first guy to practice, last guy to leave, worked with the coaches, said, hey coach, can you throw me some more passes at low post? You know, help me with my hook shot. Help me with this, help me with that. And I went in the weight room, I worked out with these guys that were football trainers, and I started doing squats and cleans and all kinds of stuff to get stronger. And by February 1st, I was the starting center of the Utah Jazz. And I held that job for over 10 years. Not because I was the best